Okay, I think we're live. Hopefully, we're live now. Everybody, let me know if you can hear me okay and if you can see me because I've had so many technological problems in the past. Hello, Jody. Thank you so much. Jody is my awesome moderator today. I only just announced this because I wasn't sure it was even going to work. So I don't know if people will hang out to if people will join or not, but I'm just going to give it a few minutes and see if people want to come in. What we're going to talk about today is a lot of the energy that is happening around us right now. Of course, today is the winter solstice, which is the first true day of winter. It's the shortest day of the year. And obviously, there's a lot of energetic baggage attached to it, also history. And it's also considered a portal date, which to me feels like a heightened energetic time for us to really do and see and understand what it is that we're supposed to be learning at this time. But what we're going to do today is get some messages from the Akashic Records and the Book of Truth regarding this coming week, which is a huge one because, like I said, we have the solstice today. And then depending on where you live, where I live on the east coast of the United States, it will be December 26th. We have a solar eclipse and new moon at the same time. And so both of those things tend to usher in new beginnings. So that is really exciting. What that means, and we're focusing on the collective for this reading. So what that means for the collective, we will find out. Okay. But know that it will impact your life in some way. It is taking place in the sign of Capricorn. So if you know your chart, you might know what actually, if you have any planets in the sign of Capricorn, or which house that falls in for you. If you count your ascendant sign, typically, it doesn't always work out like this, depending on the house system that you're using. But typically, your ascendant is in your first sign or your first house, and then you can count forward from there. If your ascendant falls at the end of a sign, your first house might mostly encompass the following sign. Okay, so just had a couple cards pop, actually. So perhaps we will get to moving. Okay, so we have the 9 of Pentacles with the 5 of Wands that just popped out. And this is sort of like an appetizer. They're saying we're just going to open the reading with this idea of you're going to have to take a lot of the self-empowerment that you've been building over the last year and take that sort of to task during this week, during this time. Actually, I'm feeling that and this is just intuitive. I'm not an astrologer. I always say that, but I'm actually feeling the time spread into at least January, if not the beginning of February. So during that time, we'll be taking to task this sort of self-empowerment that we have come into contact with, the kind of self-sovereignty, or really just having shored up our resources internally and or externally to then take it to task in our lives and really do the thing, whatever the thing is for you. And it's going to matter where Capricorn falls in your chart. Okay. I just want to take a second and ask Source Creator and the Lords of the Records to show me the overall energy specifically for today, the solstice. What should we be expecting? How should we be dealing with the energy of today? Okay, so we have the 7 of Wands with the 2 of Wands. And that is feeling to me, I'm getting a similar energy in the sense that it's like you have been learning a specific lesson. You've been working your way up the hill, so to speak. And I feel like you now have an opportunity to really make that real in your life. And you can choose to hide in the shadows, or you can choose to move forward in a sort of, they're actually using the word aggressive manner. So, and they're pointing to Mars to me, I guess, because Mars continues to be at this time in a sign of its exaltation. I think that's the right word. I don't know. Again, not an astrologer. It's a good place for Mars to be. And so we are really empowered to be aggressive in that forward movement. Let's see what else wants to come out. But you have to make that choice is the thing. Like they're basically saying there's no, we might have been waiting in the past, like waiting for opportunities to come up. But like, this is a time when it's really time for us to take the opportunities as they come, or create the opportunities if necessary, but that we need to make the choice to move to action, that it's not about someone else taking action or some other, or anything else, but like the internal push forward. I'm seeing that the Chariot card did not come out, but that's kind of what I'm seeing, that sort of determination to go forward here. Between worlds. That's perfect, because that's where we are today. We're talking about the time of today. And it's very similar to this energy here. I'm sorry, this is like backwards as I'm usually used to it. So I keep going the wrong direction. So I think you are crossing. First of all, we are going through this sort of, every year this date is considered a portal, but we are ending the actual calendar year very soon, which does matter, even though I realize it is it is not the real calendar. But we are stepping out of the old existence into the new existence. For some reason, I get the feeling of a lot of things starting to crumble and break away, which are some of the messages that I have been bringing to you for quite a while. And that is why the discomfort that you continue to feel. But I think that for most of you, you've been pushed up to the edge of kind of a precipice where you realize that there is something else on the other side, and it feels like a positive thing. You just might still be feeling some of that discomfort internally. And that is what is pointing to what in your life might need reevaluation right now. I also want to say that if you have been feeling really beaten to death by the energies, that it's changing. This is changing, but it's more of they're saying the long haul. It's more of a long haul thing than a really short thing. But I do feel like there's this bubble that bursts. They're showing me the bubble that bursts in this next week. So it's almost as if the shifts in the energy that come through these astrological events or lunar events, solar events, however you want to think about it, are pushing our own energy in the direction that matches our alignment, if that makes some sense to you. Let's see what else wants to come out here. Talking about the energy of today, the winter solstice, and how that's affecting the collective at this time. Okay, a whole bunch just came out. I'm just going to take the top two. A leg up and here and now. So again, with that, this polar bear is like getting a little, or boosting himself up, again with the backwards, boosting himself up on the back of the mama bear. I just want to say that it is about the actions that you're taking here and now. There's no more like sort of time to like wait and think about it. There's a lot of that going on, I think, because we have been introspective for a very long time, specifically since we went through the Mercury retrograde, and Scorpio is really where I'm feeling the introspection starting for most of us. Maybe different for you, and that's fine. And that was fine too. It was good to be in that introspective place during those times. But it is also important now to sort of get on the move. He's getting on the horse, so to speak. God, why am I like directionally challenged? Okay. He's getting on the horse, so to speak. And the leg up makes me feel like this is that push forward. This is that moment to go forward. So if you have been feeling somewhat challenged, as I just said, somewhat delayed in your ability to do this, then know that here and now is the time to kind of make that change. They're sort of saying to sort of lay down the planning aspect of it, which you might have been in for a while, because we have been examining things like what is our personal truth, like what is real and what is an illusion. That keeps coming up in the last few weeks, and it's kind of time to say, they're moving me into my solar plexus. It's almost like it's more of a gut action now than anything. Yeah, Two of Cups. What is doing it again? What really makes you feel like what are you aligned with? What really makes you feel like you're aligned? And this is going to be a feeling, they're saying with the Cups cards. This is going to be a feeling. It's not something you're to think up or rationalize or understand necessarily, even on an intellectual level. This is really all about what are you aligned with? How does it feel? And if you're getting in there, they're also pointing to my solar plexus again, reminding me to say that if you're getting into this like feeling of fear, that in general, that is not your true intuition. In general, that is, again, your fear as a separate emotion, but it is not, when you receive sort of guidance away from one thing and toward another through your actual intuition, it doesn't usually come through feeling like fear. It will come through feeling like a strong pull or draw toward the thing that is right, if that makes sense. So if you are feeling fear, then that is something else to sort of push through, push past, overcome. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this? Hey, Drusilla. So awesome to see you. I'm glad you could make it. And so for me, sometimes when I feel that feeling of fear or any feeling whatsoever that is really negative, I will ask myself, when was the first time I felt that feeling? And a lot of times a situation will come up in my mind and it makes a connection between the present and that past event, which helps me to understand the present confusion or whatever I'm going through now in a much deeper way, because I can make a connection between that past event and what it actually meant to what I'm going through now and where my hangups are, right? Because a lot of times we get these sort of fear feelings or anxiety or shame or sadness or any of those kinds of feelings, but we don't truly know. We have a hard time getting our minds around what it is. So, okay, so I kind of derailed there. I just wanted you to know the difference, because so many people are like, oh no, I have a terrible feeling about that. I'm like, is that really your intuition, or are you just afraid of it? You know what I mean? So feel through those quote unquote terrible feelings, because in a lot of cases that's pointing to a fear that you're holding within you. It doesn't mean that the thing is maybe not something to avoid. Maybe it is, but the fear is a different, it's your ego. It's different altogether. All right. Let's see what else wants to come up. I also do want to say, with the Two of Cups coming up, there may be ideas of relationship or feelings, issues surrounding relationship coming up for you right now. I just want to let me get a little more information about that. What is this Two of Cups about regarding relationships? What is this Two of Cups about regarding relationships, please? King of Cups and Justice. You know, relating back to what I just said, to be totally honest, I'm going to take this down the relationship route in just a second. But I want to take this back to the message I just gave and say that, you know, this may be a time of balancing those emotions and really understanding, like, with justice, kind of understanding what they mean to us. Now, the overall energy of this time, I want to reiterate, is kind of about taking those feelings and beginning to act upon them if we feel called. Okay, I don't want you to just go like YOLO and go out there and do some crazy stuff, but I feel like there's like there's a wisdom that's coming in for the collective to understanding the pulls that they have to different things, whether it is a person or a different sort of career shift or a lifestyle shift or something like that. And Drusilla, I'm reading about your puppy. I can't. Love dogs, but they can be a mess. And there's something about the mastery of the emotions, but I want to also say there's something about the sort of the primacy of the emotions now, like pushing that forward and letting that be the guide. Whereas a couple of weeks ago, there was a strong push to sort of detach a little bit and let truth filter in. Okay. Hey, Anna, nice to see you. I do want to say, there's masculine and feminine energies within each one of us. And it's that masculine half of us that is the one that pushes forward. The feminine is that receptive energy, which we have been in for a long time, since the end of the summer, I will say. And I kind of feel like this is maybe our masculine energy being pulled to the forefront a little bit, or at least being pulled to sort of an equal space and equal partnership within us. And that can absolutely reflect in your physical world. If you have a divine counterpart, or even if it's not, even if it's just a person that you feel very sort of divinely paired with, if that makes sense, that this may be coming into greater balance. It also might literally be talking about the masculine inside your inner masculine, and being able to sort of stand up and take action for yourself in a way that maybe you haven't in the past. I do feel a sense of advocacy on your own behalf in this situation. And it has very much to do with really coming to a place of unconditional love of self. And that kind of came out with this 9 of Pentacles that we started the reading with this 5 of Wands, stepping up on your own behalf, really interacting with and engaging with the energies as they are, and stepping out either to sort of take your place, right? To move forward in whatever direction is really aligning with you at this time. Some of you, I just heard the word reconciliation, so I don't want to get anybody worked up or super excited, but some of you may be having a reconciliation with a male counterpart that perhaps you sort of had fallen out with, or this person on their own may be in the process of really working out some of the issues that might have created the separation in the first place. They are more in touch with their emotional selves than they had before, in the divine sense, not the distorted sense, if that makes sense. Like, not the people who act out in their emotions, in anger, in fear, in jealousy, or whatever, but somebody who is really being able to get in touch with what is inside themselves. And this could be you too. I'm getting the sense that this is an important doorway of like initiation. There's a feeling of drive and passion behind this, which is funny with the Justice card, because I usually think of that as being detached. but I think it's the fire in these little, in the scales that's putting me there. And it's like on the right path are the words I just heard, being on the right path in that direction. So I want to say that take action in ways that you feel divinely guided, but otherwise, take actions when you feel divinely guided. And then you will just being sensitive enough to see when you are being divinely guided, if that makes sense. Okay. I don't know why I said the word otherwise. Let's get some more cards. I want to talk about more of the energies that are coming in this week. There is that major eclipse happening. Solar eclipse happening on a new moon. So those are both major forces, like I said before, major forces for new beginnings. And in some ways, that's where your action is coming from. That's sort of the opening point, the gateway. Really, this is the opening point today with the solstice, but that is a big part of it. Like that is really almost want to feel like the fire behind, if you were to light the fire to like send the firecracker off, that's it. Okay. So here we have man holding a coin, which is like the King of Pentacles, kind of with journey. Door to personal healing and happiness. Adjacent possibilities. Goddess of the moon and community. All right. So journey. Very clear, again, another indication of movement, motion. And the man holding the coin is the fullest expression of us in the physical world, okay, operating in the physical world. And so I think something is probably going to be changing for you for the better, door to personal healing and happiness, due to your ability to take those steps in the physical world. So this isn't like changing a belief necessarily. That could be part of it. But I'm really feeling with this man holding the coin that you're doing this, and it's in the sign of Capricorn. I just feel like it's very hard to not... you're going to feel like you need to take these steps forward. I really feel like you're going to feel almost compelled to do it. That it won't feel right if you don't. Now, you might have some fear there, but then like I was saying, you're going to need to maybe explore that and why it's there. Because what this is taking you toward this door to personal healing and happiness. Literally the new beginning, the new start toward your healing. Here are adjacent possibilities. And that came out earlier too with the Two of Wands. There are different choices you can make. You can choose to not take this portal. You can choose to not take this doorway. This is dependent on your own personal action and what you do with it, what you do with this sort of energy that's being offered to us. Now, if you're feeling really crappy right now, a lot of people are, and it's not only because of these energies, because there's a whole like shitstorm of astrological stuff going on, and it's going on for a while, even throughout the whole year. But I do feel that there is a link between how you choose to move forward here and how long that sort of feeling of discomfort continues for you. The power is in your, I mean, it's always in your hands, right? But it's going to feel more like physically in your hands right now about how you deal with this. What choice do you make? What do you choose to take into your life or walk away from? What do you choose to cut off? What do you choose to start? What new habits do you decide to form? Some people, this is just going to be about forming habits. Some people, it's going to be about literally putting in that resignation letter and walking out, walking away from a job. Obviously, we want to do it the right way. I feel like all of these cards are suggesting that this is all done on the up and up. It's all done in like a sort of Saturnian, like dignified manner. None of this is like you skip out on your job with no notice or something like that, or you just disappear from your family because you're done. This all feels very much on the up and up, but it is up to you. And there are options about how you move forward with this. And it is going to start to dictate how things fall together in the coming 12 months. I do want to say that there's no fear of like making the wrong choice, because if you make a choice that's based on your fear or make a choice that's based on ego or something like that, it's always going to cycle back to you making that choice again and having a different option. Okay. So, I'm always really careful to mention that, because that can be scary for people. It's all about just sort of faith in the overall design, or however you want to talk about that concept of faith in God, faith in universe, faith in the overall design. Any of those things are good. Goddess of the Moon and community. I'm actually feeling like I'm really feeling like people's holiday celebrations, all right? Whether or not you celebrate Christmas, the Christmas holiday, or you just celebrate, New Year's or any of those things. I think we're making deeper connections with people at this time. We may be coming in contact with a more real, emotional and intuitive truth within us. Okay. And we are constantly coming in contact with greater and greater truths. So that's how we transform. That's how we do this thing that we're doing over time. So do expect to feel that sense of either greater connectedness or a greater sense of intuition about what this action is that you're taking, how you continue to be connected to the individuals that you are connected with. Is this a positive? Is this a healthy situation for you? Be it a relationship or a group of friends or a workplace, any of those things. And this is really about, I feel like, taking the time to recognize what is coming through the portal with you to the next part of your life, because we are walking into a next part of your life. Okay. What's the next part of our lives? I don't know if this is going to be super different for everybody, but I just want to see what they say to the collective. What is that next part of our life? What is that next part of our lives? We've got community again. There's a big focus, and there has been a big focus on community in the last month or so. They also repeated in my head, door to personal, what did it say? Healing and happiness or something. Yeah. So I do think there is a huge push toward making sure you've aligned yourself with the right support systems, the ones that are going to support you moving forward in this new era. They just said new era. There's also like this sense of like spiritual ecstasy going on here. And so I think it is very much an energetically aligned tribe. Like, we're probably not talking about your birth family or, even work colleagues, unless you're aligned on like sort of an energetic level toward a goal or something like that. Okay, let's see if there's another card that wants to come out here about what is this next part of our lives. A lot of structural changes coming up. And so you're going to need the support of those who are aligned with you. And yet they are saying, okay, let's see what else this is. Self-love, affirmations. Okay. They are also saying that there is it's important though to not only see your own tribe as community, but the full collective as community, in some sense. Like, so you might have your group that you are safe in, you feel aligned with, you feel supported by, but it's important not to draw lines then between yourself and the others, the people who could be called others, right? Because you really are all one, reflecting each other in some way. So it's important to be mindful of that, and that the way to sort of get around that feeling of fear of the other is through self-love. And this also says affirmation. So that can be a tool toward reaching this point of self-love. So it's really having become firm and strong within yourself over the last few months, continuing to reaffirm that as you put down roots in whatever way, talking about very physical energy here, and allowing yourself to be supported by the community that surrounds you, but also not tuning others out, if that makes sense. Okay. All right, the Seven of Swords just popped out. This could be interesting. Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you coming here and saying that, because I always get super nervous for lives for whatever reason. I mean, it's not really any different me recording this live or recording this otherwise and then posting it. But for some reason, I get that way. So I appreciate that you appreciate my messages. Okay, so the Seven of Swords came out. What is the Seven of Swords about, please? All right, this is good advice, because I think what they're saying here with the Seven of Swords is you have the Three of Wands with the Sun. I think what they're saying is don't despair when things feel weird, okay? Because you can't quite see yet how this is falling into place for you, and it's okay not to know. That is why the support is so important. I don't say this to scare you at all. I don't think some people may go through some very difficult situations. We're all going to go through something that's challenging to us. If it wasn't challenging, we wouldn't need to change it in our lives. Like, it's going to challenge something that is outdated. It's a structure that needs to fall and needs to go out of our lives. We need to have this new beginning, and we need to make the choice to do that, right? And when we are making that choice, there are all the adjacent possibilities like we pulled out before. And it may be very hard to see the sun through on the other side, but it is there. And if you really are aligning with self-love and aligning with your, I'm going to use the word desires, even though that's sort of a lower vibrational word, but you kind of know what I mean. If you're aligning with your true desires, with who you really are, it's going to become clear in time. For some of you, this just came up, and I don't know if this is going to relate. Some of you, this will almost feel like a conversion experience, like almost like some kind of religious experience. So, so just know that if you feel like you are creeping along alone in the dark, there is light on the other side. And it does have to do with your really, sorry, I'm focused on this Three of Wands here. It has to do with a really profound choice that you're making and taking action toward. Okay. As much as this guy seems like he's standing around and waiting, you're not standing around and waiting at this point. Just pulling out some other cards at the moment. Just going to see what else wants to come out. I'm just going to keep going for a little bit, and then we'll get to some super chats at the end. Drusilla, thank you so much. I see you sent one through. I appreciate that. I will get you as we get through these cards. Okay. What other messages are coming up for the collective this week, please? Okay, we've got the Seven of Wands coming out for the second time in this reading. So I think that, again, is that sort of feeling of like working uphill. It's called Choose Your Battles in this card. And maybe things not feeling so great right now. Let's get some more information about this Choose Your Battles card, please. Four of Pentacles, open up. And here's the Seven of Swords again. Seek the truth. I can't get this like backwards mirror image thing right. Can't. Giving and receiving. The Six is on the bottom of the deck, and the Sun is under that. And here's that Chariot. 7 move is under that. So these are all energies we've been talking about throughout this reading. So you're going to have to let go of, in order to take these steps forward in a really profound way, in order to bring in sort of this, to align to the Sun energy that's on the other side of whatever is sort of crumbling, falling apart. As within, so without, they're repeating. So you're going to have to let the structures within kind of fall apart. And they're pointing me to something personal. I don't know if I feel like I want to like put it out on YouTube, but like in your life, you might have something that you're going through where you realize that the truth that you've been following for a long time on whatever level is different than your new truth. And you're going to have to admit that to yourself. And that is much harder than you might think it is sometimes. That is kind of like the energy that was in the reading that I did a couple of weeks ago, around the time that I did the channeling from Kauai. So I think it was that same week. And it was really the energy of what it is that we're like, that we have sort of been deluding ourselves with. I don't want to, not necessarily deluding, but it's that there's a new sheriff in town inside yourself. Okay. And we're going to have to, we don't have to fight for those old beliefs anymore. We can just let them go. They can just, you don't even need to explain yourself. You can just stop believing that stuff. Whatever it was for you. It could be anything. It could be beliefs about yourself that you're, not lovable or not good enough, or it could be about your abilities that you can never measure up, or it could be, like I said in that video, I think it could be that, maybe it's some megalomania you have going on, but you're really kind of seeing how that's not really in alignment with who you really are. So whatever it is, sometimes we just have to let it go. and stop, trying to like see all the sides of it and like twist it and turn it in our minds. It can be that easy. And even if we feel like we plunged into darkness in the process of doing that, that is part of, they're showing me the birth canal. It's part of the birth canal where you go from warmth into utter darkness out into the light. So for whatever that's worth, it's a birthing process. A birthing process is what I'm getting for right now. Any final messages? Suddenly feeling like it's time to wrap up. Any final messages for the collective, please, before we start with the super chats? Old habits die hard. Yes, I know, Drucy, I know. Also, Drusilla, if you have a question, let me know, or I will just pull some cards for you, okay? Any final messages, please, for this reading? Fork in the road. Not for you. God, there we go. Time for a nap. Sorry, now it's getting dark here, and the light is going to start bleaching out all my cards, or blanching, whatever. Fork in the road. That's what we've been talking about this whole time. New direction based on your actions and nothing else. Not for you. Knowing what you're not aligned with anymore and taking a turn. Adjacent possibilities. Taking the turn. Time for a nap. To me, that feels like, what that really feels like to me is actually quieting the mind enough to feel the feelings. Because if you were here in the beginning, we were talking, thanks, Drucy, you're awesome. We were talking about, lost my train of thought, coming back to it. Oh, yes. We were talking about the King of Cups and how there is this new emotional maturity where we are understanding what we're feeling and how that can direct our actions that are coming forward, as opposed to making it sort of this like mental choice. Okay. We are making a choice, but the choice is based upon the alignment with what we intuit, what we are feeling. Okay. So time for a nap is letting that mind rest. Feel into what's not for you to make your choice to move forward. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any, I'll answer a few collective questions. If anybody has personal questions, I will draw those for super chats as we finish up here. But let me know if you have any questions about the collective or about the eclipse or the new moon or the solstice. Trust your feelings is what just came up here. Control and trust. Trust your feelings. Your inner pull. And I'm not sure how much of a lag I have on comments, but I'm just going to give it a few seconds because I don't want to sit here shuffling too long. Hi, thank you for joining. We're actually just wrapping up, but if anybody has questions that are based in the collective, I'm happy to answer a few of those right now. Okay. Looks like we are a quiet group tonight, and I appreciate all of you guys jumping on. If you have not already, please do like the video because it will be available on my YouTube page to watch from the beginning later. And I did not really announce this because I wasn't sure the technology was going to work. So I just so appreciate all of you guys who jumped in. And I look forward to, now that it works, I look forward to doing more of these again. I was trying to do them like monthly. So definitely keep an eye out. And I will see you guys all another time. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great week. If you just jumped in, remember to watch this video. Watch this video from the beginning so you can get all the messages. And I will see you next time. Okay, bye.